Right tankers, my name's Mad Friday and welcome back to another quick tank review. I'm afraid the time has come to sell my beloved Foch because I need the silver to buy the tier 10 now. So before it goes, we're just going to take a quick look around the tank, see what it can do, and then some nice gameplay to finish up. Right, so here it is then, tankers, the tier 9 French tank destroyer, the Foch. Comes after the 1948 and the 1936, and it's an interesting line. Doesn't get much credit, but when you get to the Foch, it's a tank destroyer that, well, you can see it on the channel before, it's a tank destroyer that can sit back and be a sniper, or it can push forward and use its really good frontal armour to bully people. And that's why I think I like this tank so much, to be honest, because it can do a lot of jobs. If it had a turret, it'd be awesome, but it doesn't. Anyway, so what is its competitors? Well, some things that come to my mind right now: the Tortoise. The Tortoise has a better gun and probably the better armour, maybe, I don't know. The weak spots are a lot more obvious on the Tortoise. This has obvious weak spots as well, which we're going to talk about. We're actually going to go into the armour viewer today because it is relevant on this tank. Jagdtiger, I think I'd rather have the Jagdtiger than this, but it's still a bloody good tank. But I don't know if the tier 10's worth it. The reason I'm doing the review on this today is because it's time for it to go. As you can see, experience 0, I've unlocked the tier 10, and I'm going to be purchasing it after making this video. Anyway, let's go straight into the packages. It's very easy this one, fellas. If you see there, you get the good gun at the start and you keep the good gun, so the grind isn't that bad. All that happens when you take this extra package, and I suggest you do, because you will need the track traverse and the engine power, you get a better engine, better tracks and a better radio. So tier 9 TDs are the longest grind in the game in terms of XP. I think this was 280,000 or 260,000 to get the Foch. But the grind wasn't that bad, because it's not like some of the other tanks where you start off with the derp gun off a tier 7 tank or something stupid like that and then you have to grind your way through. It's pretty good when you get it, and it just gets better when you get this pack. Like I've said before though, with the 120, I find I don't get those big spiky damage games like I did in the 704. 704 still has my highest tier 9 damaging game, but on average I do well. I rarely have a bad game in this tank, because of the reload, because of the accuracy and stuff like that. So I'll look at the top package then. It's a 1000 horsepower engine, fellas. Any tank with 1000 horsepower is going to be pretty nippy. It's pretty fast. The track traverse is not bad, although I would recommend bumping that up with some crew skills. Right, on to the best bit then, the gun. 6.45 rounds a minute with 120mm. The DPM is not bad, but like I said again, it misses out on that big hard stopping power that the 704 has, the Jagdtiger has, the Waffenträger Panzer IV has, but it can spit rounds out really quickly. The aiming time is good, and you need good aiming time because remember, it doesn't have a turret. You will be moving your tracks, your bloom will get big, and you need to aim back in. I don't bum that up with equipment, but if you choose to play this tank as just an assault tank and never as a sniper, maybe drop out the camo net for a gun lane drive or something like that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So obviously pen is good, 257, that's basic 120 pen. Premium rounds are very good though, 325, that allows you to fight E100s, IS4s, stuff like that easily, and HE pen is good enough for artillery, but I have bounced, well not bounced, I have had non-damaging hits on artillery superstructures with the HE rounds here, not particularly high penetration. Again, accuracy is very good at 0.33, even though at range though, it will let you down still. You have to let this thing fully aim, you can't snapshot like a medium with it. Just doesn't seem to work. Few ranges on that limit again of needing binos, so I have on this one. Again, it depends how you want to set it up. Actually, we'll talk about that now. Get that out of the way. So as you can see, I set my Foch up as the basic sniping tank destroyer because it does do that job very well, but because of the frontal armour it also does the assault tank job very well, and you may wish to swap these skills around. If you choose to play it like that every game, you might want to ditch off the binos and the camo net and go for maybe ventilation, coated optics instead of the binos, and gun lane drive, stuff like that, to make it a pure assault tank rather than the sneaky sniper. But with this equipment you can do the sneaky sniper, then move in and do the assault tank role as well, and I'm going to show you that in some gameplay. Well, on to crew skills then. Don't have many in this, but I would recommend probably the majority of the ones I've got. You definitely want Sixth Sense. Hopefully you would anyway by this tier. You definitely want camo. I'm gone for Brothers in Arms because that helps with all your major crew skills and just makes your tank that tiny bit better. Repairs and clutch brake in. Repairs, obviously, if you get your tracks taken off, get tracks put back on quicker. If you've got a much better skilled crew, I would recommend track mechanic with this tank as well. Definitely clutch brake in. And that's it for me so far because I don't have particularly high skilled crew in here. But other than this, I would go for off-road driving, because if you do get flanked, even though you have 1,000 horsepower, the track traverse is still only 28 degrees a second, which is not bad, but you could still do with bumping it up so you can swing this gun round. And you can out-traverse something like a T-54 on medium ground if you have the crew skills and manage to save your own life. Yeah. Right, so that's it for the basics, just supplies. Don't really need to tell you about that other than I run strong coffee on this tank. You need that reload down. I have almost everything on the tank bar ventilation that can make the reload faster, and the reload is 7.5 seconds, and with a 120 that's not bad at all. But I do recommend strong coffee on this one. Although if you do get flanked by a light tank or something, they're going to hit you in the ass, they're going to set you on fire, but if they do that, more than likely you're going to be dead anyway. So fire extinguisher, meh, rather have that 10%, thank you very much. Right, oh well, messed up there. What's left to talk about? Just the armour. Well, let's look at the basic stats first. 1550 hit points, that sounds good, but remember Tiger 1 at tier 7 has 1500, so you only have 50 more than a tier 7 heavy tank, so be a little bit careful about wasting that hit point pool at the start of the game. Speed limit of 50, and it does get there very quickly, and it maintains it over rough ground. Very, very good, fast tank. And the other stats there we've talked about pretty much. Bar the camo value, it says average, but it looks about halfway, and then anything near halfway or just over is actually pretty good. In terms of, you know, it's actually a tank destroyer, it's not a light tank, so the effect of the camo value with a camo net and the camo skills does make this thing pretty sneaky. Right, so that's it for looking around the tank. Not a lot else to talk about. We're going to go into the armor viewer now because it is relevant on this tank. It's got some very, very good bits and some very, very bad bits, so you really need to know about it. Right, so here we are, tankers, looking at the Foch with tanks.gg. We're not going to look at the front first. What we're going to talk about is anything that's not the front of the tank first. Whole of the side 40mm, whole of the ass 40mm, and the whole of this side 40mm, and the roof 20mm and 30mm. So it's all at the front basically, and you have to be careful here. Anything with 120mm cannon and above can pen you on the sides and rear and the roof from absolutely any angle you want. So it's all about the front, fellas. That's what I've spoken about in videos before with the Foch. It's all about linear action, keeping your enemies to your front. Use that track traverse, blah de blah, and use this frontal armour. And what frontal armour it is, apart from a couple of weak spots, it's some brilliant, brilliant armour. Right, so the gun mantlet, absolutely no hope really of anybody there apart from this little patch here, which tier 10 TDs might go through, you know, but yeah, the rest of it is huge. The lower plate is 100mm but on a very good angle, so it brings up nearly 200. So although it's weaker than the front plate, it's not actually that bad for a lower plate. As you can see, some weak spots here, 100mm there, that one actually counts. But if you look at the range finding bar, it's only the centre that actually counts as a hitbox. The two ears are no hitboxes. This is why, if you're parked in front of an enemy and they look like they know where to pen you, you wiggle your tank, and that is all you can do. Try and throw their aim off of these bits and hopefully hit these bits. Anyway, so this bit itself though is actually quite still thick. It's 180mm there and 80mm on the top, so it will still pull off some bounces off the lower part of that. This one though, 100mm, you can be very, very lucky to pull off any bounces off of that one. So on to the front plate then, and this is the figure the Xbox gives you, 180mm, and if you look at the angle, it's not perfect, but it's not bad at all. And if you just have a look around the figures, high 200s everywhere. It's a banging front plate, and it's such a large area as well. If you wiggle your tank like this when you're backing off from someone, hopefully you've got your lower plate exposed, hidden, and if they're trying to aim for these, you wiggle your tank, try and get them to hit the no hit boxes. A good enemy will pen you reliably, but the lower skilled players. For a start, they won't know where to pen you, and second, even if they did, they might not be accurate enough to do it. And there we go, the Foch fellas. It's all about the front, basically, the thing that sticks out, and the armour behind it. The rest of the tank is not actually that good. But if you know how to use it, very, very effective tank. And now into some gameplay where I try and show you how effective it is. Right, let's get into it then, tankers. Let's talk about the Foch while I'm getting into position. So it has some really good points, i.e. frontal armour, decent gun, very good mobility, good camo value, etc. Has some bad points: side armour, rear armour, leaves you very vulnerable to things like T-49s with dirt guns, stuff like that. They can absolutely trash you. If a light tank gets behind you with a single shotgun autoloader, say, you have literally no chance to bounce them whatsoever. So if they get behind you, you're pretty much done. But the frontal armour and the camo value is insane. Onto the 120, it's a very good gun, but it has the same problem. At tier 9, it doesn't hit hard enough. You're 350 alpha off the 704, so it's exposure time. If you're not stealthy and you're spotted, every time you want to do 400 alpha, you're up against tanks that may have bigger guns than you and can possibly take more alpha off of you, and you've more than likely got a smaller hit point pool than them as well. So it can be can be a tricky tank to play, but once you get used to it, it's very effective. And the gun as well, although the reload's pretty good, 7.5 seconds with my setup at the minute, you're still like a second and a half off the Conway and the Tortoise. So their 120s are actually a lot more effective than the 120 on this, but in all, it's a good package. The grind isn't that bad because you get the good gun straight from the start, so yeah, kind of a mixed bag, but it all adds up to something I do like to play. It was one of the longer grinds in the game. The tier 9 TDs tend to be the longest grinds to get the tier 10s. Right, here we go. Bulldog is coming for me. He's seen a Foch non-turreted TD. He really wants to kill me, so I'm trying to anticipate what he does, ram him, blow his head off. Happy days. So that's the biggest threat to me, taken out really. He is the most mobile tank on their team. Even the CDCs can't keep up with a Bulldog in terms of track traverse and stuff like that. So yeah, happy to get him out of the way. Seems my mediums are sitting back. Anyway, but you know me. I'll be found somewhere near the front of an attack. Does get me caught out now and again, but that's how I choose to play the game. Play the game to have fun, and sitting in a bush at the back is not fun. But in this game, I'm going to do a bit of face-to-face, but quite a lot of sniping as well, and you'll see how stealthy this tank can be, even when you don't use cover. Right, so I saw a T10 to the right, he's backed off. Now time to work over the C75. Right, so I aim in. The aim time's not bad, the accuracy is not bad either, but you must let it aim. You can't snapshot a range with this thing. There we go, see, that round dipped at the last minute, almost to the bottom of the aiming circle, and I only pulled off a crit on the T28. But reload's not bad. Again, like I said, the Conway would have killed that guy by now. But the Conway doesn't have the frontal armour of this thing. Right, so there's a Tiger 2. We outspot him. Even moving, he doesn't spot us at 340 metres. Do get spotted now. I fired. That reduces your camo value. And he hits my side armour. And it penned. That would have been a partial overmatch at that angle. If you don't know what that is, either ask someone and they'll answer it in the comments, or I'll do another video on it soon. I did do a video a while back on that, but a lot of my older videos were pretty crap, so I'll probably do it again anyway. Right, so we hit the T28 again. He needs one more. Accuracy, penetration, lovely jubbly. Right, Tiger 2's coming round. I noticed, bounce off that lovely front plate. And I auto aim there. Probably could have got that one in if I didn't. T10, boom. Have some of that. Frontal armour, biatch. In a tank destroyer. Yeah, lovely. Right, small shot on Tiger. Go for his track. Put him in place. Come on, mediums. There we go. Boom. Too quick track in this. He's out, so it's just this T10. Do make a bit of a mistake now, though. I'm not the best at playing non-turreted TDs. In fact, I'm not the best at playing anything that doesn't have a turret. There we go. Completely missed that shot. But track traverse. Don't burn my repair kit, I don't think. I went for his track, but I missed. Still a damaging hit though. Right, so the gun depression isn't bad on this thing, but it's not amazing. So right, back off at an angle. That was a high explosive hit from a CDC. Not a bad idea from him to use HE for my side armour, but luckily he didn't hit the side armour. He would have done a fair amount of damage then. Right, so 2.29 seconds does seem a long time, but I guarantee you it's a lot better than some of the Russian guns. Right, there's that CDC. And again, my accuracy, that was nothing to do with the tank there, that was just me. I didn't estimate his speed enough. And that one again dips. You can see even 0.33 accuracy, I think it was, at this range. It's a bit like the Charioteer, you have that 105 from the mediums, but at long range it's still not very accurate. Is he there? Yeah. Do you reckon he's moved? Someone's looking at me, but I take the risk. I want this kill. Boom. Nice double blind shot kill there. It's only an IS, but who cares? Nice work there. Right, Motherland. Hit his gun. Damage his gun. Yeah, RNG. Tell you what, a well-played Motherland is actually quite a good tank. It's just too slow for me to find it interesting. Anyway, right, gun depression fail. Counter at long range, boom, clean up that kill. One tank left. I don't think I get there in time. So let's just sum this tank up, fellas. Really, really good frontal armour. It's not like godlike. A good player will pen you reliably in equal tier tanks or even higher tier tanks like tier 10s. They will pen you reliably if they know what they're doing. This tank is very, very good at hoovering up lower skilled players. Players who will not take the risk of taking your track off and trying to go around you. It can hoover them up real good. You know what I'm talking about. Potatoes. This thing makes chips out of potatoes. And even better skilled players, if you wiggle your frontal armour, you can get away with some bounces. Anyway, there we go. High caliber, 2 gun marks, 6,300 damage, 4 kills. And that finished off my grind with that game. So well happy to get a game like that for my last game in this tank. Will I buy it back in the future? Yes, it won't be the first one. I'll be buying back the Yag Tiger and the Tortoise first before this tank. But still, a very good tank, well worth the grind. The grind's not that bad. Can't tell you if the tier 10 is worth it yet though, because I have not played a game in it yet, because I wanted to do this review before selling it. Well, there we go guys, hope you enjoyed this review, hope you found it informative. Give it a like if you did, and I'll catch you on the next one.